Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, entitled Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as specified in the act. Proper notice of this meeting is provided in the notice of April 28, 2010. Said notice is posted at the entrance of 4 offices, mailed to the Nutley Sun, Star Ledger, North Jersey Herald News, and the Nutley Journal. Mailed to the Nutley Township Clerk, advertised in the Nutley Sun on May 6, 2010, and posted in the district website. This is an official meeting. Please rise. A moment of silence. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll. Here.
Here.
Mr. Mastrocola?
He's on his way.
Dr. Reed?
Here.
Mr. Rogers?
Here.
Mrs. Russo? Here. Mr. Slaughter? Mrs. Furtado?
Here.
Mr. Riley?
Here. Okay, this time we're going to have a presentation of academic awards. So, Principal, Mr. Catrione, step forward, please.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. Mr. Riley, Mr. Zara, members of the Board of Education, Madam Business Administrator, families and friends. This evening we're going to recognize our students, our superstar students, in 2 areas, being merit scholars as well as AP scholars. On behalf of Nutley High School students and staff, I am proud of these students, not only because of what they've achieved academically, but who they are as young men and women. They represent the very best of Nutley High School. They come early, they stay late, they do an awful lot in between. They're actively involved in our athletic programs, our extracurricular programs, and community service. With that being said, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our Director of Guidance, Ms. Jill DeVillio, who will now, at this time, acknowledge our students.
Currently, there are 5 students in Nutley High School that have earned AP Scholar Awards in recognition for their exceptional achievement on the AP exams. The College Board's Advanced Placement Program provides motivated and academically prepared students with the opportunity to take rigorous college-level courses while still in high school and to earn college credit, advanced placement, or both for successful performance on AP exams. About 18% of the 1.6 million students worldwide who took the AP exams performed at a sufficiently high level to also earn the AP Scholar Award. The College Board recognizes several levels of achievements based on students' performance of AP exams. One of our current seniors qualified for the AP Scholar Award by earning an average grade of at least 3.25 on all exams taken and grades of 3 or higher on 4 or more of these exams. Unfortunately, this student cannot be with us this evening, but his name is Paul Lake. 4 students qualified for the AP Scholar Award by completing 3 or more AP exams with grades of 3 or higher. Our AP scholars this year from our senior class are Shoko Okabe, Dan Moore, Tara Chattel,
Dan. Congratulations.
and Alicia Trevette. Unfortunately, Shoko was studying for an AP physics exam. Moving on to the National Merit Program, 4 students at Nutley High School earned recognition through the National Merit Scholarship Program. The National Merit Scholarship Program is an academic competition for recognition and scholarship that began in 1955. High school students enter the National Merit Program by taking the preliminary SAT or the PSAT, NMSQT, National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test, which serves as an initial screening of more than 1.5 million entrants each year, and by meeting published program entry requirements. Of the 1.5 million entrants, 50,000 with the highest scores, index scores including the critical reading, the math, and the writing, qualify for recognition in the National Merit Scholarship Program. In late September, more than 2/3 of this group received letters of commendation in recognition of their outstanding academic promise. Commended students are named on the basis of nationally applied selection index score that vary from year to year based on the students that take it that year. Although commended students do not continue in the competition for the National Merit Scholarships, some of these students do become candidates for special scholarships. This year we have 2 students that are commended. They are Callie Perone.
I'm not in the picture, it's not.
I told you to be there that day.
And the other student is Sarah Josepper. Callie's laughing because Sarah was present for the picture and Callie wasn't, and now it's opposite, so they both get a picture of Sarah. Continuing on, every year, 1,300 National Merit Program participants who are outstanding but are not finalists are awarded special scholarships provided by corporations and business organizations. To be considered for this special scholarship, a student must meet the sponsor-specific criteria in the National Merit Scholarship Program. A committee of their staff evaluates them on their abilities, skills, and accomplishments, and they choose the specific scholarship winners. These scholarships may be either renewable for 4 years or one-time awards. This year we have 2 students that have been named special scholarships award winners through the corporate sponsor, Hoffman Roche. They are Shannon Keating and Shoko Okabe, who I believe is studying as well. Thank you.
We congratulate all the aforementioned. Thank you very much. You guys did a great job. The girls, phenomenal. It's just a testament of what goes on here. The brightest and the best. We congratulate all of you. Thank you so much. We're going to move into the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Riley. I've postponed the presentation for Mr. Bailey, the science coordinator, until a future date. Please note in our resolutions the appointment of the district anti-bullying coordinator. This is required by statute. It must be somebody in a professional certificate holder in either guidance, or health fields, or administration. And we are also including in your packet a narrative from the District Affirmative Action Officer, Mr. Philip Cipriatano, regarding the entire requirement for the district. We are planning a bullying in-service for this spring. We are shooting for May 19th, a half day to train the entire staff on the new bullying statutes. The principal of each building will select a school safety team and an anti-bullying specialist. They must be in place by September. We've also included the 2011-2012 school calendar, trip list, and those are my resolutions, Mr. Riley. Nothing else to report at this time.
Board Secretary.
Yes, I would just like to announce that the public budget hearing is being held on March 28th at 6:30 p.m. and it has been moved to the auditorium at Nutley High School. And also just like to remind the board members to turn in their financial disclosure statements and personal relative ethics forms if they have not already done so.
Committee reports. Seeing none, move to the hearings of the citizens for resolution items only. We now come to the portion of our meeting where we allow members of the public to address the board. In this section, we allow questions, comments, and only the resolutions addressed in tonight's agenda. Regulations allow 20 minutes for these communications. Each person shall be limited to 3 minutes. We ask that Chuck stay within this requirement. Speakers will speak heard only once after everyone else has been heard on the topic. All statements will be addressed to me as a chair. Please come step forward if you care to speak on resolution items only, please. Seeing none. Let's, Mr. Sposado, move superintendent's resolutions, please. 1 through 6 forward. 1 through board as listed.
Mr. President, I move Superintendent's Resolution 1 to 4 as written.
Second, Mrs. Russo. Discussion? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Mascaretolo?
Yes.
Dr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mrs. Russo?
Yes.
Mr. Sauter?
Yes.
Mr. Sposado?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes. Mr. Lee, could you please move board secretary 1 through 6 is listed, please?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to move Board Secretary's resolutions 1 through 6 as listed.
Second.
Second, Mr. Kaczynski. Discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Mascaretolo?
Yes.
Dr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mrs. Russo?
Yes.
Mr. Sauter?
Yes.
Mr. Sposado?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes. Okay, before we get into the hearing of the citizens, I want to make a statement. And obviously, there was a reason why we have a large audience here tonight, and it has to do with the budget and what this board is faced with a $2.7 million deficit that we began with. On March 1st, we were obligated to have a temporary budget submitted to the county, which we have submitted to the county. That number was $59 million and change. We continue to this day to work on all of the budget. Every day we have budget discussions. As I've said in many meetings prior to the one tonight, there's not one item in this budget that this board did not collectively analyze, whether it was staff, and all staff, not just paraprofessional staff, all staff, secretaries, custodians, teachers, paraprofessionals, you name it, we've looked at every single item in this budget. That's why this is the first time in the history of the board our meetings consisted of the entire board, not just a committee of 2 or 3 or 4. So we sit here today, and I asked the superintendent to send a letter out to all staff members on Friday detailing this, that there's nothing written in stone as far as exactly what cuts we're going to finalize with. And we continue to negotiate this. As a matter of fact, there's a meeting tomorrow with the EAN and our negotiation committee to discuss this exact matter. Tomorrow, I've received permission from Mr. Stoffers to let you all know that tomorrow you will all receive a letter from the EAN asking about moving from traditional to direct access in order to save jobs. There's not one person sitting at this table that wants to eliminate one job or one program or one athletic event or one football next year. We're forced to move from a 4% to a 2% hard cap. There's no skirting that. It's the most painful process we've ever had in the history of my tenure on this board. It's an extremely difficult position to be in. Everybody knows what everybody in this district does. Everybody knows how important everybody in this room is. Everybody understands the connection that all of you people have with the children, including the gentleman sitting here. Everybody gets that. But what we have today, ladies and gentlemen, is no longer sustainable. That's the fact. It's a cold, hard fact, and it makes us all tremble when we hear it. Mr. Petracco the commissioner just had to cut staff in his department. I don't think he wanted, did you want to eliminate any policemen or firemen?
Absolutely not.
Of course not. No more than we wanted any policemen or firemen eliminated from this town. The education and safety of this community is paramount to everybody sitting at this table, and the commissioners as well. But you can't have a 2% cap and fit everything in that cap when over 80% of salaries and benefits. It can't fly. Everybody sitting here knows that. But we have to make adjustments. We've asked the EAN to go to their membership to see how many people we can have. There's approximately how many people, Mr. Zara, that remain in traditional? Over 140 people. If those people volunteer to move from traditional to direct access, how many jobs can we save, Mr. Zara?
It's a dollar amount. I'll defer to Mrs. Yeaman. She's been working those
Well,
numbers all
I
day.
think that's manifested itself into the numeric equation on personnel, no?
Quite a few.
Give me an estimate. I'm not gonna hold you to the number.
Be anywhere from a minimum of 6 positions, depending
Okay,
on how
what's the
the numbers
maximum?
come
If
back.
everybody comes out, if everybody was to volunteer to move to direct access. By the way, just so everybody here understands, we can't just ask somebody to move from traditional to direct access. Most of the district has already moved that way. It's 80% and 20% still, whether you're in direct access or whether you're in traditional. The only difference is if you move into direct access and your doctor is not in the program, then it turns to 70-30. That's the difference. In most cases, the people who have moved out of traditional into direct access have saved money, including the district. So we're asking, on bent knee, for everybody in this district to do what they can to save jobs. So it's not like we're sitting here not working to save every job in this district. It's not like we're sitting here looking to privatize the entire community, custodians, cafeteria workers, paraprofessionals, secretaries. That's not what we're looking to do. We want to maintain every staff member that's sitting in this audience, including the ones that are sitting home tonight. We want all these people to work with these kids every day the way they do today. We don't take this decision lightly, but I'm going to say it again, because it needs to be said. This program that has existed for the eternity of the Board of Education of Nutley, and municipality, and police and fire, and every other department, it's not sustainable. It can't continue. We're sorry. We didn't create it, but we have to fit these numbers inside that gap. There's not one department or one person that's not going to be impacted by this next budget, regardless of what we do, regardless of whether we save every single aide that's sitting here tonight and working in this district. Okay. I'm going to read this, and then I want to step forward. Step forward. Please hold all your comments until open session on all business and new business. Everyone will be heard. And we're going to keep order here where we're supposed to. In this section, we allow questions or comments on all school-related matters. The regulations allow 30 minutes for these communications. Again, each person shall be limited to 3 minutes, and we ask you to stay within this requirement. Anyone wishing to be heard, please step forward. State your name and address.
Good evening, Mike Stockton, President of the Education Association of Nutley, 337 Passaic Avenue. Mr. Zara, Mrs. Yeaman, Mr. Riley, Nutley board members. On behalf of the Education Association of Nutley and 58 paraprofessionals of the school district, I would like to say a few words regarding budget cuts that will directly eliminate all of our valuable paraprofessionals and outsource their positions to a county agency. Let me be perfectly clear. These men and women are the backbone of the special education department here in Nutley. A department which has grown tremendously into an extremely successful program admired by many in this state. Over 90% of these paras reside and pay taxes right here in Nutley. The majority of them have dedicated their lives and careers to the most vulnerable students of this district, those with special needs. These children rely on the talent and dedication of our paras. Most people could never bring themselves to handle the complexity and intensity that these jobs demand. They do these jobs with devotion, respect, and love. Every staff member in this district understands that there are extreme budget constraints placed on boards of education and understand how tight money is. Also, I realize that some programs and staff will need to be eliminated in order to balance the budget. However, what is happening here is just plain wrong. The whole idea of any type of outsourcing or subcontracting is wrong in the public school setting. It opens the door for many problems, abuse, and inconsistencies in the operation of our programs and buildings. At this time, we would like the DOE to consider this move very carefully. While the development of this budget occurred, there has been no input from the special education teachers, those who know their programs and students best, no input from the EAN or the administrators that serve on the front lines every day. Please realize that almost all of these people will not be able to work for this agency since they will be paid less, work less hours, and receive no health benefits. That in turn means some 60 new faces could be greeting our special needs students come September. These faces may change on a daily basis. It may be an even larger number than that if the agency people don't work out and constantly need to be replaced. How do you think children with special needs or emotional needs are going to react to new faces, changes, and interruptions to their routines on an almost daily basis? We respectfully request that you speak to our staff, both teachers and paraprofessionals themselves, as well with your administrators to fully understand the negative impact this decision made by this board will have on those very special children. Yes, these men and women will be unemployed, and in this economy that is a travesty. However, let us never forget our true mission here, the one that behooves all of us as a people, and that is the education of our children in our charge. Trust me when I tell you this is not in the best interest of our special education students. I look forward to discussing this matter in the future in far greater detail. Thank you. About this last week for the first time. We sat down with Mr. Zara and Mrs. Yamins and went through all the possible cuts in the district, and the last thing we heard was, at the last minute was, oh, we're also going to outsource the paraprofessionals. Okay? It was already figured into the budget that way, that these people will be gone, their salaries and their health benefits will be gone, and the amount they have to recoup in order to bring them back is $879,000. Okay? With the teachers opting out of traditional and going into direct access, which was our idea. We proposed it to them. With the teachers doing this, it'll save them that amount of money, $819,000. With the teachers opting out, it's $879,000 they'll be able to get back. So they can bring back all the paraprofessionals and then maybe one more staff member. But the first time we heard about this was last Wednesday, for a budget that's been worked on since last October. If we had been brought in at the beginning and allowed to consult and say exactly what takes place in the classroom, what needs to stay, where savings can be made, where cuts can occur, I don't think any of us would be sitting here right now. That's all I have to say.
Terry Clark, 45 Hampton Place, spokesperson for the Nutley County Advocacy Network. NPN does agree with the EAN's position on this. We cannot see our paraprofessionals, who they are the heart and soul of this program, and we can't see them go. I just want to tell you something that I really want to just touch base with you in regards to, I've been involved in 3 cases. Two of them actually, are elementary school age children that are going over to Lincoln School in their special ed classes. And I'm telling you right now, the thing that sold these parents was the dedication of the staff members, the paraprofessionals that were running that class. I mean, there was one particular classroom that we walked into, it was a kindergarten class. And I'm telling you, I've been in a lot of classes and I've seen a lot of things, but these paraprofessionals really made it happen. And I turned to the parents and I said, this is where you want your kid to be. This is the best place for your kid. And I'm telling you, later on they agreed with me, and that child is doing a great job today. But I just want to just say this as an advocate. When we're faced with losing people like this, we have to really look at whether or not we're providing the best services. And if a parent is going to come to me and say, you know what, Terry, I don't think my kid is receiving the best services in district, my next option is the only other option that I have is for them to go out of district. And you know how much that costs. And we want to keep our kids home, and we want to keep them in our community schools. And these people, like I said, they are the heart and soul. They are like the mothers of these kids. And I can't say enough about them because they are just so wonderful. And if you can find any other way to do things, and I know you're in a position where you're looking at lots of numbers and you have an unsupportive governor. I mean, that's the only nice thing that I could say off camera. I can't say what I really think about him. But I just want you to understand that I understand that you have to juggle these numbers, but this, please, this is like the blood system. This is what these are. This is the heart of this program, and we need them. Thank you.
Start making notes, can't use them. Kimberly Donahue, 27 Rain Devon. Most of you know me. You guys know my son. From one minute to the next, if he has a different aid from one day to the next, he loses about 2 hours of his day trying to learn what he's learning. You guys start bringing in outside people. You're setting these kids back. You know, everybody always says nepotism is so alive in Nutley. Damn it, let's use the nepotism. Finally, let's use it in our favor. These are the people who are your friends and your neighbors. And if you guys outsource, you're bringing in outside people. When you guys started this program, it was with the idea, you said to us, you came to us as parents and said, let's bring it back in district. We all know how important community is to our kids. And it's so proven that these kids succeed by being in their own community, not on a bus for 2 hours, not in another school, even if we drive them for 15 minutes, but going down the street and saying hello to the people they know and trying for social skills every day. If you take it out like that, then these kids are going to have these people they don't see after school, they don't see in the community. They're not going to have your cousins, your brothers, your sons, your fathers, your mothers, the people who we've come to rely on. What is Nutley about? It's about community and everybody's sticking together. And that's part of why Liam is doing so well. And if you just take that away, you're not only setting him back, and he is one of the kids who is excelling. What about these other kids who are not as fortunate to be as far along as Liam has come? You're not giving them the opportunity to proceed further. Liam came to this program because you guys made a promise that you understood, those of you who are here now, who were here then, that you understood the importance of community for these kids. By doing this, you're not reinforcing that sense of community. You made a promise to us. We brought our kids back in district. We took a big chance. I brought him from Montclair. I brought him here. I looked at so many other schools, guys. And the main reason I brought him here was because of one of the board members, and you know who you are, who came to me and said, community is important. We're going to take care of your son. We're one big happy family. That's not what a family does. I need your support. You need these kids sheltered among the people that they know, not outsiders, not where we have to worry about what's going on, who they're bringing in, who's vetting them out, whether or not they're really being checked. We've all, at some point in our lives, dealt with home health care agencies, and if you've ever had one sick person in your life and you've had to rely on a home health care agency, you know that today it's Lisa, tomorrow it's Maria, the next day it's this person, the next day it's that person, then it's Joe, then it's John, it's whoever they can scramble to get to meet what they promised for their contract, and it becomes all about a contract, and it's no longer about the children. And Nutley was what the children were supposed to be about when you guys formed this program, and we took a leap of faith. Liam was one of the guinea pigs. We took a leap of faith, we brought him in district. You guys go outsourcing, guess what? You're outsourcing our children, because we're going to have to move right back out of district.
Washington Avenue, Nutley, New Jersey. Good evening, and you may want to get comfortable. I've worked as a paraprofessional for 18 years. Recently, I've been asked, just what does a para do? Well, let me think. That all depends on what classroom and what age group you are working with. My experience has been vast. I have been in kindergarten twice, first and second grade twice, third and fourth grade twice, sixth grade 3 times. I graduated from preschool 4 times. Once I went to kindergarten and traveled all the way through 5th grade. Just recently, I was promoted from preschool to 6th grade in one day. I have been an inclusion aide, aide, a classroom aide, an instructional aide, and a paraprofessional. I've ridden on the school bus, played kickball, and jumped rope on the playground. I have learned and taught Braille. I have wiped tears of children and their parents. I have wiped runny noses and, well, many other things. I have been pooped on, peed on, spit on, vomited on, slapped, kicked, punched, stabbed with a scissor, had my hair cut, and cursed at in many different languages. And that could happen in just one day before 10 o'clock. I have chased, begged, bribed, entertained, and all but stood on my head to get a preschooler to sit for 3 minutes to color a picture, trace a line, or count and sort colored discs. I have done classwork and homework, fire drills and lockdowns. I have potty trained preschoolers and changed way too many diapers to count. Taught the alphabet, both lower and uppercase, and numbers and shapes as well. I have glued, colored, and traced just about everything. I have learned silly songs, danced to silly songs, and used props to remember silly songs. Learned graduation songs, holiday songs, and some ridiculous songs. I have relearned algebra, science, social studies, totally awesome health, and grammar. I go to gym, library, art, music, and even suffer through band. I have seen the movie twice, both the girls' version and the boys' version. I have eaten numerous cupcakes by 9:30 in the morning. I have worn silly socks, crazy hats, pajamas, school spare wear, and team jerseys. I've jumped for heart and attended tricky trees. I have supported bake sales, animal clubs, and student council. Bought candles, candy, wrapping paper, Girl Scout cookies, and entertainment books. I have purchased clothes, coats, shoes, and food for families who are struggling. As paras, we do what we can to help the teacher in the classroom. Whether in a self-contained classroom or regular education classroom, we are the ones who are the constants in these children's lives. Through thick and thin, they know they can count on us to help them with whatever they need help with. I'm just one of many who dedicate themselves each day to make this a better place for these children. I'm not sure if any of you realize this, but about 90% of the paras working in this district make under, and I mean well under, $20,000. We are the lowest paid employees under contract. If you don't believe me, check my book. I have it in my purse. I thought back today, and I really don't recall in all these years anyone actually quitting this job. I think that pretty much sums up the loyalty we have shown to the Board of Education. Nor is it a career. It is my passion, a commitment to do the best I can do for every child each day I come in contact with them. In my darkest days, it has gotten me out of bed. And the old saying of get myself up, brush myself off, and start all over again has played over and over again in my head when dealing with my own issues and my own children. The parents and children in this district depend on us to take care of their children and know that we treat them as our own. Just think about having to drop off a 3-year-old child with no language skills and no way to explain to them why they are being left in a school with strangers, kicking and screaming and holding on for dear life. It's not a good feeling, is it? Well, right now, most of us are not strangers. The parents have seen us at ShopRite and Target, Little League games and school functions. We know a lot of their older siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, and grandparents. They know where we live and where we shop. That may not be the case in September. I have attended funerals, weddings, graduation parties, pool parties, musicals, concerts, and athletic games to see some of the children I have worked with over the years. I have even been on the Disney cruise. We unfortunately cannot control the cost of things like salaries and medical insurance, nor can we dictate what the state says we must provide but doesn't want to provide us with the funds to provide it with. The old saying that it takes a village to raise a child, well, we are the village. And just like the weekend tsunami that came in and destroyed villages in Japan, I'm asking the board not to think of us as dollar signs of money to be cut from a budget, but as the glue that holds this district together. So as Nemo says, we will keep on swimming, and hope for a solution to the district woes. And as my favorite holiday approaches, let me say, till we meet again, I hope that will be as employees of the Nutley School Board of Education in September 2011.
Lisa Holler, 59 Emily Avenue. I'm a resident for 25 years. It's very difficult for me to get up here and speak because it's very bittersweet. You see, I'm split. On one hand, I'm a taxpayer who's at the end of her rope. I know I can't withstand any more increases. But on the other hand, I am first and foremost a mother of a special needs child. May I start by saying that I support our Board of Ed members. So much of their time is spent working for our children for no compensation, and for most of the time, not even a thank you. I voted for them, and I put my trust in them to make the best decisions regarding my children. On the other side of the coin, I'm a mother. My Brittany has been in our Nutley School District since she was 3, from Mrs. Amoroso in Lincoln School to Spring Garden with Mr. S, middle school once again with Mr. S, and now finally the high school with Mrs. Marino. These teachers were an integral part in my daughter's life, but I must say her aides were just as, or maybe even more important. They nurtured her, they loved her, they held her hand when she was scared, they guided her when she was lost, they disciplined her when it was necessary. I can truly say I love every one of them. I don't know what the fix is for this situation. I wish I did have the answers, but I don't. To the board, all I ask is that you explore every avenue before a decision is made. I have every confidence that you will do your best. To my friends, I call every one of you my friends because of the love that you've given my daughter all of these years. I ask that you listen and try to work together. This is so hard for me because I support you both. You know, we kind of teeter-totter here as residents, as parents. In closing, all I can say is that no bad can ever come from compromise.
Nora Maciel, 44 Plymouth Road. 2 children in the school district, paraprofessional Lincoln School Special Ed Pre-K program. I apologize because I get emotional with these kind of things, and I also have bronchitis, but it was important enough to come out here and speak. I didn't come here to tell you about what exactly a paraprofessional does. I think Maureen has done that well enough. I came to tell you about what I believe a paraprofessional is. Like I said, I have 2 biological children in the Nutley school system, but I also have 8 more that I treat as my very own from 9 to 3, 5 days a week. My own children have been in classrooms with paraprofessionals, and although these paras have not specifically been assigned to my children, each and every one has had an impact on them. Although this might embarrass her, and I apologize at this moment, but I will tell you about a specific one that has affected my children, Miss Donna Luzzy. She has taught my children valuable lessons, both academic and social, shown my children kindness and love beyond anything you can imagine, and is the person my daughter will continue to run up to and hug and kiss when she sees her, no matter where she is. I aspire to be Miss Donna Luzzy to the children I work with and have previously worked with and hope to continue to work with. The one they can continue to depend on, to love and appreciate for years to come. Outsourcing the paraprofessional jobs will create no Miss Donna Luzzys. With the exception of the primary teacher in these classrooms, these children will be lucky to even see a familiar face on a day-to-day basis from now on. The faces they look forward to from day to day. Thank you.
My name is Sam Battaglia, 48 Enclosure. I didn't intend to speak tonight, and I'm a little disheartened on both sides. So, you won't be happy on this side either. I'm the father of Miss Kristen, who's one of the aides at Lincoln School. Been there for 10 years. I know what she does, and I watch what she does. I know how she loves her kids. There's not a holiday that comes by that she doesn't put little packets together because these are her kids. But we have a business to run, and I understand that. I sat there for 12 years, sat in that seat for 4 years. There's places and things to do. I've been on that first cerebral palsy board of directors since 1974. I know exactly what it takes to make a difficult situation run. I'll tell you this right now. If I knew this was a subject matter, I'd be a candidate for this office today. I'm very disheartened. But I got to tell you on the other side, in 1986, when I spoke as a negotiator to the teachers group, I said, folks, this can't go on forever. You have to start contributing to your medical expenses. It can't go on forever. So, time has gone on. Money's been spent. The taxpayers have cried wolf. Somewhere along the line, if we really mean that we can get together and compromise, get your people to the table and make something happen. Make some things happen. Be different. Let Nutley be different. Let them show the rest of the state we can be different. And we can save our people, all our people. But you got to give up something. You can't be afraid to think that it's always going to be your way. Same side on that side. I hope something comes out of it. Whatever happens, happens. But I'm not happy. Not happy at all.
Jennifer Higgins, 132 Lakeside Drive, Nutley. I come before the Board of Ed tonight and wish that I could suggest some alternative spending cuts. But since only the information I have available to me is the total amount budgeted for next fiscal year, I find myself in the position of only being able to discuss why outsourcing services to children with special needs should not be done. When I learned of the board's latest interest in outsourcing the paraprofessional aid work to an agency, a wave of frustration overcame me. I simply do not understand the board's short-term focus on the numbers instead of looking at how the changes the board makes have a systematic impact that does not save the district money in the long run and does not provide the assistance to the children you purport to educate. One of the problems with this is that the district will be replacing highly trained and skilled aides, some of whom have worked with the same child for several years, with individuals who make minimum wage and who have little or no training. As a parent of a child with a one-to-one aide, I find this completely unacceptable. A properly trained paraprofessional aide is essential for a child's success, as that person has the most direct contact with the child on a daily basis. The quality and experience of today's paraprofessionals are an integral part to the success of the children they serve. A quality educational model cannot be supported by temporary staff. It is time to put the children first and look for other ways to share the fiscal pain. Cuts and freezes in federal education programs, especially Title I and IDEA, always have an adverse effect on educational support professionals, translating directly into cuts in services that affect students. Experiments with privatization in other districts have not produced the cost reductions or improvements in services. It's my understanding that this experiment with paraprofessionals has happened in the South Orange Maplewood district, and the results have not been positive for the students, the parents, and the teachers. The qualifications for the persons working with those who in contract school services are nearly always lower than public school employees. As a committed and caring members of the school community, paraprofessionals affect the lives of students every day. An outsourced employee reporting to an assignment is not going to have the same level of commitment and dedication to the students. Therefore, it is absolutely unclear why the board would be pursuing such a measure. Let us consider the hiring of school-based therapy services. The district signed a contract for occupational therapy services provided directly to students that did not include evaluations, which are done for an extra fee, or teacher consultations. If the district had hired full-time occupational therapists Both of these duties would be part of that salaried position's responsibilities at no extra cost. In addition, it is important to note that the teacher consultations are a part of the best practices outlined by the New Jersey Department of Education. In fact, teacher consultations are essential because the occupational therapist can assist the teacher with developing strategies that not only assist the student in question, but do not interrupt the instruction of the entire class as well. Now that the board is considering outsourcing paraprofessional work, and given that the outsourced occupational therapist's primary contact is the district's employed paraprofessional, what will happen when the paraprofessional is outsourced as well? Will the consistency and cohesiveness in the delivery of services to the children be the same? While the special needs population is a costly one for the district, it is time to consider the human cost as well. I urge you to reconsider the spending cut for the good of all.
Business. Mr. Sauter.
Yeah, this is anecdotal, but I've been involved with the direct access since it started. I never had a bad experience with it. And I had a pretty serious situation about 3 years ago, and I'm sure the bill had to be in the area of $30,000 or $40,000. It didn't cost me a dime. I can only say good things about it. That's anecdotal, of course, but that's the way it is.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Any new business?
Mr. President, can I discuss what has been discussed here in the new business? I'm glad you're here tonight, seriously. I don't like the way you were notified to be here, but I'm glad you're here. One thing that I think needs to be made clear is that, and Mike Stoffers and I are friends, I hope we're friends, I go back with Mike in our past lives. The innuendo that the board has not been communicating with the professionals, I don't think it's true. We communicate with our superintendent, with the principals, everything that we have discussed in our budget committees on what we're looking at, whether it's paraprofessionals, football seasons, tickets, cuts that we might make in education, that has all gone through the superintendent and per he has been discussed with the principals. So we assume as board members that it has been discussed at your level. Whether it has or not, okay, I'm not pointing the finger at anybody. I'm just making it clear that as board members, it's not our job to go down and sit in the classroom and find out what's going on. That's what we have professionals for. And the feedback from them is that the options that we were looking at have been cleared by their professionals. To everything that we've been discussing in our budget meetings, and we've discussed everything from overnight trips, to drums, to bands, to paralegals, to teachers, to coaches. Everything in the budget has been looked at very clearly. No decisions have been made, and I'm certainly this has been on the agenda. We've talked about different issues, but no issues have been clearly cut on what we're going to be doing next year with our budget. So I just wanted to make that a little bit clear. I'm sure some of our other board members might have something to say, but as far as the budget input, and the way this board does it is much better than I've dealt with boards in the past, where this was an entire board. So it wasn't 3 or 4 committee members sitting and making these decisions. Every one of the 9 board members here had input. And so we all know our concerns, we all know your concerns. Nothing has been decided. Has it been discussed? A multitude of things have been discussed.
Anyone else wants to be here? Roger.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming here tonight also. And as my colleague said, no decisions have been made. In fact, let me share this with you, and if I may be at liberty with my colleagues. To me, and I know to some of the board members here, that dirty word, privatization, is something none of us, I'm sure, want to do. I know I don't. I know my colleagues, and speaking with many of them, don't. What we did tonight was this. You kind of, at least, and I'll speak for myself. I don't want to take the liberty to speak for my colleagues, but I feel that they may feel the same way. We have to do what's in the best interest of your children. Who knows better than the parents and the teachers? Who knows? And I know my colleagues feel the same way. You know, it's an amazing thing. I talk a lot about management by walking around, getting down into the trenches with the troops. Unfortunately, you had to come to us. And I guess a lesson learned is we got to get around. We got to get around. We got to get around. We got to get around and talk to the parents and the teachers, to the paraprofessionals. We've got to get around. So I thank you for coming here tonight. What an eye-opener. And one more word about the 8 other members on this board. You know, I don't agree with a lot of some of my board members. We have our debates. But I've been on this Board of Education for 2.5 years. And every man and woman sitting here are truly dedicated to this district. We have differences of opinion, and you know that. But when it comes down to doing the right thing at the right time, they do rise to the occasion. And they will. We will. And I would ask this board that we leave no stone left unturned on this budget to do what's right for these children. I want to make that commitment to you tonight personally, and I'm sure my colleagues, and I believe you do, feel the same way. Thank you, Mr. President.
Please, one more sentence, President Riley. I'd just like to remind the board that while I have 2 other kids in the district, it would be unfortunate to lose any of the other programs, any of the after-school programs or anything else. This particular item is not whether or not you're going to enhance it, and I don't want to pick on any particular group because I've got kids who are involved in the music group, who are involved in after-school activities, who are involved in all the stuff. I've got 3 boys. They're involved everywhere, and I don't want to see anything cut. But you're talking about the difference between enhancing somebody's musical career going forward, where they're going to college and, hey, great, maybe they might get a scholarship for music, and the difference of the child who may never learn to speak, or who may never learn their ABCs. I'm not particularly, picking on one particular after-school sport, but you're talking about the life skills of these kids versus extra things. Take the extras away. Don't take it away from the kids who already had so much to take it away from them.
We heard you loud and clear. We appreciate the efforts of Mr. Stoffers and his team to reach out to his membership. It was close this year. I say this all the time, I'll say it again. I'm a glasses half full kind of guy. I came here tonight knowing that the membership is going to come to everybody's rescue. I have no doubt that that's going to happen. I have no doubt that that's going to save a lot of us who are sitting here today. So I implore all of you to look at your health care coverage and call any of us anytime and ask us any questions on what the difference in moving to a different coverage is. And we'll be happy to answer those questions. Whereas the Board of Education will be discussing matters exempt from public discussion pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12, and I therefore be resolved the Board of Education recess and close executive session to discuss the matter of personnel. Resolved, discussion.